All righty. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good break. Hope you guys stayed active, went skiing or snowboarding or tobogganing, or just did some hitting and throwing in your basement. Got the not so great news today. We're getting pushed back another week. So we'll send updates about that via email a little later. But yeah, we thought it would be good to revisit our hitting. Because our last one, we had more that we wanted to talk about. So this should be our chance to kind of touch base on those again.
Oh,
There we go, muting Beck. So yeah, quick review of what we went through last time. So we talked about grip, we talked about hand path. Okay, we talked about what starts our swing, right? It's elbow, hands stay tight, and we extend out through the ball. And then from a lower half standpoint, we talked about starting 50-50 or starting balanced, loading into a back hip, but not too far, and then making sure our front heel is down and strong so that we can push into it with our back side. So I've got a few examples. If we pull up, I got a couple examples here I can show you guys, because there's a really good, if you guys have Instagram accounts, I really like this fellow Antonelli Baseball. He usually just breaks down, like he just has little slow motion clips of, there we go, little slow motion clips of hitters like this, right? I liked this one because you can really see how hard he is trying to keep his hands tight and inside the ball, right? At the initial part of his swing, right, you can see his back elbow driving down into his, in front of his rib cage, not into his rib cage, because then he would get stuck, but he's driving that back, that top hand through and keeping everything tight until he gets out towards the front side of the plate. And then he extends out and through the ball. All right. This is probably looks like it's a bit of an inside pitch still, but it shows you why we really get on guys if you're a caster, right, that throws their hands out towards the catcher's glove at the start of your swing. It's basically the opposite of what we want to try and pursue. Cam, you have anything on that?
No, it's like, I love, how he keeps his hands inside and just how direct it is, right? There's no, once those hands decide to go to the ball, there's no there. It's straight where they need to go, right? There's no wasted movement, right? Obviously that's at the big league level. So you can't have wasted movement because it'll be exposed, but that goes for all levels, right? So I love how no wasted movement there is.
I like here too, I just noticed as well, at the very start of each loop, you can see nothing's going until that front heel is getting down. His front heel goes down first, right at the very start, and then everything starts to come through. Right, and you can see how hard his front side, right, that lead leg, it's actually pushing backwards into him. It's bracing very strong, right, so that the drive from his back knee, right, we get that down and towards his front shin, right, that creates energy. We push those legs together, and that can come up and out through our hands. Okay, he's a good example. I saw another good one. I like this one here. You can really see the initiation of the swing, right? Elbow and then bat lag, barrel lag. One thing that I remember working on with a lot of guys in their lessons was guys that were really trying to throw the end of the bat around too early. And you can see here that he's getting the hands through and the barrel is lagging behind just a bit so that it can snap through. And then what I love about him is his head in this sequence here, right? Once that foot gets down, like his head, any MLB hitter, if you were to look at them in this sequence here, their head would be almost perfectly still. Everything's rotating underneath, but there's no forward and back movement anymore once that foot gets down. Okay.
And then look how connected sorry, Jeff.
Yep.
His back elbow and back knee. Right? That's a very good cue for, different hitters have different cues, right? There's some guys think hands and some guys think elbow. I got to get my back elbow into a slot, right? And they both mean the same thing, right? You could say his hand, but watch his back elbow and his back knee, how they drive at the exact same time, right? Your back elbow has to get to that slot and your back knee has to be driving forward towards that ball, not just turning, it's driving forward towards the ball. And it's just like, that's timing couldn't be any more perfect there to be on time with both your upper body and your lower body.
Yeah. I love something I else noticed. So if you just key in on his back knee, right, it's down and to the ball, right? And what's handy is that we've got basically a portion of the dugout right up against the back of his foot. So you can see that his heel comes up, but because he's driving that backside forward, his heel doesn't end up further back than where it starts, right? Some guys, I would have to put a kettlebell there or something, right? Because you'll take a swing and your heel will end up further back than where it started, right? You spun, you squished the bug, and we ended up going backwards, right? The opposite of what we're trying to generate. So I really like that breakdown for him there. This was a good example here of just how you can approach that high pitch, and it's even high and tight. And it just, again, showcases how important it is to keep your hands inside, right? But then once you get to the ball, he still does a really good job with his top hand of extending through it, right? A lot of our guys, we'll stay tight and then we'll carry on being tight and we'll roll around and off that ball. As soon as he gets the barrel where it needs to be, he extends through it. Looks like, I think that's against the Jays. That looks like Danny Jansen back there.
Dork.
What else? There's another couple good ones. That's not going there. There was one with Bo, or this is our featured athlete of the day, Francisco. Anyone else? If you missed that trade, he got traded today. He's got a little bit of a step, right? So we're back in the sequence enough to see that, like, he's getting his front foot down and then the rest of his body comes.
And his front foot means not just that front toe, right? Matthew McBride and Nick Omeniuk. I don't know if they're on here. Right? I was reading a thing that was talking about that the other day, and it's a comfort thing, right? If your toe, when you step, if your toe is usually the first thing to land. So it's a comfort thing to land softly on it. And you never want to force your foot down. But think of your foot has three main points, right? The bone in your big toe, the bone on your little toe, and your heel, right? So all three of those have to be planted. Right? If you watch, when he lands, that whole foot lands to get anchored. If you're just on one of those three or two of those three, the other side can rotate and you'll spin off the ball.
But it's just like, I mean, we've looked at 3 or 4 hitters now, and there are key points that appear in every single big league swing, right? It's his backside, his back knee drives forward and down, right? His front side, strong and pushing backwards into him, right? The elbow and the back knee come together, okay? And then it's tight, and then he extends out and through, right? So everyone will have their own version of their swing, but there are key checkpoints that everyone must hit to really maximize the amount you're able to cover that pitch, right? It's all about getting on plane and then staying on plane, right? That's going to increase the amount of time you have to make solid contact. And to me, as a hitter, that's what you just chase. If you really simplify it down, I want solid contact, right? It's at the end of the day, we can debate things like launch angle all we want, but the underlying theme of any hitting approach that you buy into is hit the ball hard, make solid contact, hit the ball hard, right? And there are certain things you can do through your swing that can increase the number of times or the percentage of time that you hit the ball hard, right?
Yeah. So on that note, how everyone hits those checkpoints, I found it's picture. So this is just, we talked last time about your stance, your load, and your step. And once that step gets down, you're in a good launch position, right? So I found this. So share screen. I've never shared screen, so let me know if this works.
There we go. Yep, you're good.
Okay, so some of these guys are older, so you guys may not know who they are, right? But this is after they've loaded, strided, and they are in their launch position. So look at how damn near identical all of these hitters are, right? And this goes for like Buster Posey, for instance, towards the bottom in the right. He has a big high leg kick, but that's where he gets to with his foot down. Albert Pujols up in the top, he doesn't leg kick at all, but you still get to that same point once that heel's down, right? So look at where their hands are all at is the biggest thing that I notice from it, right? Obviously weight back. There's a couple guys, Piazza's a big stride and hit guy, so his weight's a little more forward. That's why he struggled with off-speed pitches. But he can hit 40 home runs a year, so he's allowed to do that. You guys aren't. Right? But just the hand positioning for me was how consistent that is when they are getting ready to hit, right? And we talked about last time, the worst thing you can do as a hitter is not get yourself in a good enough spot at the right time to be able to hit, right? These guys get to that same spot every single time. And then there's
Wait, before you move on from this one.
Yeah.
Two things that really jump out to me here is you can't see it too well from this angle, but none of these guys are hiding or twisting their hands back towards the third base dugout, right? They're reaching back towards the umpire. There might be a little bit of upper body twist back, but there's no turning it. Like there's no hands stuck in behind the head and stuck in behind that forces them to spin around in a circle to get their hands through. So that, and then the other one is the angle of the bat at this loaded position, right? One thing that I remember working on a lot with guys in their one-on-ones is and we talked about it in the last hitting one, was guys that like to drop their barrel back this way as part of their swing, and then having it come out and around, right? If you drop your barrel here, you can't do those good things that we talked about at the start of the day here, right? If you drop it here, the barrel immediately has to release out so that you can pull it through, right? So we did a lot of work on turning and tilting back through our helmet, right? You can see all of these angles here.
These are now a bunch of lefties. But nothing changes.
We're still in the righties.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't see Cano now?
Nope.
Okay.
Try sharing screen, and then I think it's probably because it's in a different is it another image?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Same thing.
Yeah. Right. So
you know what I love here too is like everyone's in their legs, right? We always tell guys, stay down, stay in your legs, right? Nobody at any point on this is going to spin and corkscrew up, right? Everyone's in a position to work down through that ball and forwards through that ball.
Yeah.
Cool. So just a little, we touched on last time, and then the other part of hitting that we wanted to get into a bit today was just approach stuff. All right. So we've already hit on your goal as a hitter should be basically getting that barrel moving fast, right? We want it moving fast, and we want it moving through a zone that gives us the greatest chance of success of making solid contact, right? And so as a hitter, I always feel like your mentality should be, I want to drive a ball hard up the middle, right? And I know that seems basic, but you'd be surprised how hard it is to resist the temptation to try and do more, right? You see a pitcher that's throwing maybe a bit softer, right? And you think, you know what? I think I might be able to get out in front of something and pull something down the line, right? Where's the shorter porch, deep center or left or right field walls, right? And when we start to give into those temptations of trying to think and limit ourselves to just one side of the field, right? Because that's where we feel like we can hit it the hardest, okay? You expose yourself to so much more, right? And like if you encounter a soft throwing pitcher and you're thinking, I'm going to pull this ball, I want to get out in front and pull this ball, right? You are just playing into probably his plan. He wants you to try and pull that ball because all you have to do is be off time by a little bit and you've hit a ground ball to his first baseman or his second baseman, right? So when you step into the box, if you think of nothing else, I want to hit the ball hard and I want to hit up the middle. All right. Anything to add on that?
Just gap to gap. Right. And yeah, like I'm a lefty, so my thought was always left center gap. Right. If I'm on time and it's an inside pitch, I'm still going to pull it because my body turns on the ball. Right. And that's where I think kids misconstrue that, what Jeff's saying there, and what hitting coaches say is we're not saying don't pull the baseball. Right. If it's a pitch to pull, yeah, turn on it, drive it. Right. But it's that mental side of if you're thinking pull, if I'm thinking pull, I'm thinking pull, and that guy throws me a change up on the outer half, there's nothing good that's going to happen there. Right. If my mindset is turn on something, in order to do that, I have to be out front. So now this pitch is slower and it's away from me. I can't do anything good. Right. So it's the approach. It's that mental, right? It's not a coach saying, do not turn on a baseball, right? It's setting yourself up to be on time for more pitches. So,
yeah. And then the other one that I wanted to touch on that I really think you need to focus on at a young age is simplify your decisions as much as you can. Like as a hitter, every time that pitcher goes through his windup, that's the pitch I'm hitting. I am thinking this is the pitch I'm hitting, right? A lot of the time this is a fastball and I'm going to try and hit it. If I can get a good piece of this, right? If it's somewhere where I can hit it hard, I'm taking a swing. Not, is it a strike? Is it a ball? Right? Can I hit this ball hard? Right? That overlaps quite a bit. Balls that are out of the zone, you can't reach and you can't hit hard, but no one's going to get mad at you if you hit a pitch that's maybe that far off the plate, but you hit it hard, right? At the end of the day, the result that we're looking for is hard hit balls. No one's going to penalize you for hitting a ball that might not be a strike, right? But where you can get into a hole as a hitter is looking at two fastballs that actually caught that much of the plate, and now you're down 0-2, when you probably could have put a good swing on one of those pitches, right? So when you're standing in the box and you see that pitcher going through his windup and you see that ball getting released, I am hitting that ball until it's proven that I can't, right? It's not a like, oh, what's it doing? Or, maybe I'll read this pitch and see, like, no, it's all systems go until it's nope, put the brakes on and hold up. Right. And because that's, as guys throw harder and harder, you have to be starting your swing sooner and sooner. Right. Because there's just no time to react. There is so little time to process where a pitch is. You have to keep it as a yes, I'm swinging, no, I'm not. And you start on the yes, I'm swinging side every single time until you identify that's not a good pitch to hit, whether it's a fastball out of the zone or an off-speed pitch that's going to drop down and away, right? But it's something that we always talk about with all our teams is I don't care if you go up in an 0-0 count or a 1-0 count and take a good solid rip at a pitch and it ended up being a curve that falls down and out of the zone. If you were on time for the fastball and that pitch and if it was a fastball, would you have been ready to hit that pitch? I'm okay with that. The ideal is you identify that it's an off-speed pitch and you put the brakes on, right? But what you'll never be able to do, or what successful hitters don't do, is hold up or be late on good pitches to hit on those fastballs that are early in counts, right? If you're fighting off fastballs in an 0-0 count or a 1-0 count, you haven't prepared well enough for your at-bat, right? You didn't watch that pitcher warm up. You weren't getting your timing in, right? And you didn't have a plan or approach, right? Very, very rarely, only when you get to like really high level ball and pro ball, will guys go up looking for a guy's slider, right? I've had 47 at bats against this guy in my career, and 75% of the time that I see him, he starts me off with a slider. Okay, then you can go look for an off-speed pitch, because you're an elite level athlete that if you get your pitch where you think you're going to get it, you can still hit it out 99 times out of 100. But none of us are there yet. So simplify. Look for fastballs, look early in the count, and be ready to hit. And don't second guess yourself. Okay?
Yeah, no, that's well said. Always be ready to drive fastballs, right? And understand that, be on time to drive a fastball, like Jeff said, especially early in the count, right? And I'll even, like Jeff said, we want hard hit balls. We want barreled up, aggressive swings, hard hit balls. It's even one further than that. And he kind of went there with the breaking ball that falls out of the zone. We want aggressive swings that were on time too, right? That doesn't mean you can't swing and miss, and that wasn't a productive swing, right? As Jeff was a pitcher, a lot of you guys, you've had pitches that you throw and a guy was on time, took a very good swing and just missed it. And it's not a great feeling as a pitcher, right? So it's being on time and aggressive with that, right? And again, on the flip side, you've all seen when guys have a weak, non-aggressive swing at a pitch, and it's a nice feeling as a pitcher, like, okay, I got this guy, right? Well, as a hitter, right, if you are on time for that fastball and your foot's down, you first pitch of an at bat and you foul it straight back, or you just swing and miss, right? That should be a confidence booster, not a, oh man, I swung and missed at that one. No, like that's not what we're thinking as coaches, right? We're thinking, okay, yes, this is going to be a good day for this kid, right? So it's setting yourself up for that as many times as you can, right? And then understanding that the older you get and then the higher level you play at, the fewer good pitches to drive you're going to get in each at bat and in each game, right? So not being ready to hit and taking that 0-1 fastball that the pitcher was trying to go down and away and he missed it right over the middle, but you weren't really ready to hit, right? That could be the only pitch you get to drive the whole game, but definitely in that at bat, right? So being ready, like Jeff said, on every pitch in that good launch position and thinking the swing first mentality, right? Yeah, well said.
Yeah, and then that will adjust as your at bat extends, right? The approach you have early in the count will change as you start to get more strikes on you, right? I'm a big fan of look to do damage when you are up in the count, right? Your 0-0s, 1-0s, 2-0s, 3-1s, that sort of thing. Pitches where you're more likely to get a fastball, or at least a good pitch to hit, right? Those are all situations where a pitcher does not want to throw you another ball, right? Or he's not trying to nibble. But when you get to a point where you are 2 strikes, okay, I'm still a fan of you have to shorten up. And it doesn't necessarily mean choke up on the bat, put your hands an inch higher than where you had it. It just means you can't get as big and as long, right? And you have to stay more connected through that ball and just hit it where it's pitched and take what the pitcher gives you, right? It's when I'm down 2 strikes, okay, I love it when a pitcher tries to go outside corner with a fastball, because I can just throw my hands, because I was like Cam, but the opposite, right? I lived right center gap, right? I got to just throw hands, drive that way, okay, and drive that ball into right center field, right? And that's just a very simple, short approach, right? It's just being more cognizant of keeping your head in, keeping your eyes on the ball, not dropping the hands, not getting long in your backswing, and just being short and quick and trying to just do whatever you can to put a decent swing and get decent contact, right? Versus early in the count where you can get maybe a little bit bigger or a little bit longer because you have pitches to play with, right? Because at almost all levels of the game, a hard hit ball in play is more productive than a swing and a miss for strike 3, right? We can debate the MLB stuff till the cows come home, and maybe it works for them, but you don't get there if you're striking out 8 times out of 10.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that too, Jeff. Like that's, we are not going to be coaches or a program that are okay with guys being 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in a game, but that one hit was a home run or a double, right? That's not, because that's not going to work in the long run. In a right, again, MLB guys have 162 games a year, right? It's strikeouts will happen, right? We know that, but you shouldn't be okay with it just because you were trying to do too much with 2 strikes, right? Again, we're not at the same time, we're not going to be I just want to put ball in play, right? But we need to put the ball in play, right? We're still trying to get barrel on this ball and hit a ball hard with 2 strikes. But that level of focus, level of team needs to kind of be elevated, right? It's a pride thing. I don't know what that one thing I always say to hitters is work hard here. Like it should be hard work. This pitcher's got you 1-2, 0-2. That's not going to be easy, right? But I'm going to start working. Now it's okay. I better buckle down here and get to work, right? Because I've got some work to do to put a ball and play hard.
Yeah. And it's a common thing you see at the younger age levels is as if a hitter's not successful in his first couple at bats, right? For some reason, guys seem to think, well, if I get a double here or a home run here, then my day will be saved, right? But it just makes the problem worse, right? Your timing gets off, your swing gets long, you make worse contact versus the guys that have the discipline to just say, you know what? I haven't had the greatest day. My first 2 ABs didn't pan out, but I'm going to stick with my approach of just staying short, trying to drive the ball gap to gap, right? And they have more success than the guy that just tries to swing bigger and harder every time he goes to the plate and doesn't have success, right? So if you have a bad day, no amount of good will make up for the 2 previous at bats that weren't so good, right? But if you can at least get a single there and then a single in your next at bat, you turn an 0 for 2 day into a 2 for 4 day, right? So yeah. But there was one other situation that I wanted to talk to you guys about hitting wise, but I just forgot it. Cam was talking there.
I'm going to share this quick. Okay, we won't read it all, but it's 6 points here that it kind of goes through. We talked about mechanics last time, right? Again, real quick, it's balance stance, get your heel down, separation, right? That's your load. Drive into the ball, pull the hands in and tight, slot the back elbow. And Jeff and I didn't write this, okay? So that this is how consistent what we're telling you is. Right? Finish with a stiff front leg. Okay. Your mindset, keep it simple. Trust yourself. Swing with a purpose. Confident. Clear your mind. Right? Less effort equals more production. Have a plan each and every time you step into the box. And then a bit about like your approach when you're ahead in your count. Be more aggressive. Right? When you're behind in the count, know the situation. Shorten up if you got to, widen out, clear your mind, relax, right? Still be confident. Then approach, keep it simple. How is this guy trying to get me out, right? What is my objective on this next pitch? I'll have Jeff share this with you guys, but it's a good little summary of, again, some pretty basic things. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that jogged my memory. So the one scenario that I thought about was how a guy's approaches seem to change when a pitcher's throwing hard, right? Guys tend to get timid, right? Or guys try to start swinging too hard, right? Your approach and your swing and your effort and intensity should not change pitcher to pitcher, right? Soft throwing pitchers want you to get big and try and hit it a mile so that you hit 3 lazy fly balls and a rollover, right? Hard throwing pitchers want you to be timid so that they can get ahead with fastballs and then throw some nasty stuff, right? Stay consistent with your effort, stay in control of your body, right? And it's just a matter of getting your foot down in time and trying to catch that ball in the right spot, right? Timing is a funny thing. When it clicks for you, when it makes sense, it's a big jump for you, right? I could sit in front of you and front toss, right? And if I sit 6 feet in front of you and front toss it hard, that's the same sort of timing as a guy that's throwing 90, right? It's all about you use my body and my windup to dictate when you start your swing. Well, the same thing should happen with a guy that's throwing hard, right? And the same approach and what you should be looking for early in the count should be the same. Just because he's throwing hard doesn't mean you can't be aggressive first pitch, second pitch, right? Cam touched on it earlier. Guys that throw hard hate it when a hitter comes in the box and takes a rip at that first pitch, because now they're starting to go, oh, this guy is aggressive. This guy is on the offense here, right? Instead of letting them dictate the pace of that at bat. Okay.
Yeah, and we've all, like, again, you guys are younger, but I'm sure you guys have all had it, right? If you think back, we've all played a game, multiple games, where the guy on the other team pitching is nothing special, throws not very hard, has an okay off speed. You're licking your chops before the game. Everyone's probably, we're going to get this guy. And then it's the 4th or 5th inning and you're down 3-0 and you're 0 for 3 with 3 pop-ups, right? It's because you're trying to do too much, right? Again, that's what those guys are trying to do, right? And there's probably one guy on your team that's 3 for 3 who probably has the most simple swing and doesn't try to do too much, and it's 3 singles over the shortstop, right? So it's having success but doing it easy, right? Simplifying and never playing into what the pitcher's trying to do to you. It's you have your routine and your timing that works, whether it's a fastball, curveball, changeup, whether the guy's throwing 85, 80, or 60, right? It's, if those things are simple and they're repetitive, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity to deliver barrel to baseball.
Cam mentioned it in that graphic there. That was my last point, is understand how that pitcher is trying to get you out, right? That's why we always harp on guys on our teams to pay attention when you're in the dugout. Watch every single hitter's AB, right? Because you can gather information about how that pitcher likes to pitch, right? When he gets a guy with 2 strikes, what does he love trying to strike guys out with? Does he love to freeze guys with his curveball, or does he attack with fastballs, right? In this time through the order, what's he starting hitters off with? Is it still fastball every time, right? And if he spikes a curve, does he go to a fastball every time, right? A lot of guys will do that. They throw an off-speed pitch for a ball, and then they think, oh, I need to throw a strike here. I'm going with my fastball, right? Whereas myself as a pitcher, I loved, if I missed with my curveball, I knew right away, what did I do wrong on that pitch, right? I knew that I yanked it, I hooked it, I pulled it, something. So I would cycle through, I'd have my catcher cycle through until he threw down the curveball again, because it seemed like hitters would always just expect that fastball, and I would be able to get a cheeky strike across, right? But you don't know that unless you watch the game and you watch the at-bats that happen in front of you, right? But the timing that you get in the Yandex circle is good, but you can learn just as much just by standing in the dugout and watching that pitcher pitch. So before we run out of time here, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys